and we salute and honor the elements of the universe, the cosmos, the four corners of the earth. Yeah, it was taking me a minute to get this thing started, and shouts out to YouTube. You know what I'm saying? We got to shout them out. You know, a phenomenal platform. They give people opportunity to give presentation. Anywho, hope all is well. Um, think this is gonna be. Well, I know it's not gonna think. I know it's gonna be. Some important questions. I was gonna title this, but I feel like if I title it, then some reason I get attacked. But it comes with the territory. But let's get into it. Before we get into it, we're gonna say a little short prayer. This just gratitude, gracious spirit, divine, Oladamare, Simba, the mother and the father of many. We thank you for this day. We thank you for gratitude. We thank you for healing. We thank you for peace. We thank you for deliverance. We thank you for your wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. We thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. We thank you for giving us strength when we are weak. We thank you for giving us strength when we are strong. We thank you for giving us insight and awareness on a spiritual, and energetic, and physical level. We thank you for forgiving us for our trespasses against you and others. We thank you for giving us hope again. We thank you for giving us stability in all areas of our life. We know that it has to be earned by efforts because you give us free will to make choices. We ask that you bless those who come today, even if they don't believe in you, even if they don't believe in righteous things. We thank you for all there is. We thank you for every experience, known and unknown. We thank you for giving us insight of all. Samoda Biashe. So hopefully you guys have had a great weekend as well as a good week. And if not, count your blessings. We could talk about many blessings, but one of the most important blessings is that you living. You live to see another day. Part of me, I'm most definitely gonna warm my coffee back up. You know, uh, some people it's their energy. Coffee is good in its own beautiful way. I want to talk about how it's important to get some clarity of this understanding. Some of us do and don't have an insight about what we see that's out here, especially for those who have children and things like that. I just, it's really bothered my spirit. And I'm going to talk about a few things. Hopefully, we can do this thing in 30 minutes. 30 minutes top. But if we go past that, then it's meant to be because these messages are just they general messages, which I meant to put that there, but I was having a hard time loading. Um, and some people get triggered as if the message is for them, and it may be a message for them, but people have to understand with clarity that I'm not targeting you. You know what I'm saying? I don't have nobody I need to target. Everybody know what hand they deal or dealt in the card game. You know what I'm saying? And I said, well, what they got to do with anything? This is a card game. Everybody got a hand that's in their two physical or one single hand holding their hand playing the game of spades. And everyone knows what the dealer has dealt them, what they was willing to take. And so a lot of time people take things personal, but you shouldn't take things personal. You should take it as a blessing because think about it. What if you have not ever came across the information or something that you ignored and you have maybe been asking a question like, why is something not working out for me? Why I'm not getting what I need to get? Because I feel like even if you're a fucked up, wicked person, you still deserve to get a chance. And I would say that wicked people do have a chance to actually make it right. But it's up to them to make it right. You know what I'm saying? You can't force anybody. You can attempt or you can consider with an illusion that yeah, I force people to do XYZ, but are you really forcing them like inside their body, controlling them to make them think or react or do the certain things you want them to do, or are they doing it because of fear or being cautious or the low self-esteem they have indebted in the moment, along with other different things. But promise you not to here to bore you. Never did bored anyone. I know it's very important to give out information that's important to people. Time and energy. I believe in time and energy. It's value more than money. It's value more than any physical thing you can think of. And this is one of the elements that people are missing: time and energy. We don't use our time wisely, and we put our energy, to make it short and simple, we put our energy into things that actually doesn't put energy back into us. And then it makes us depleted, makes us depressed, demotivated, not concerned about self or others. And this is when we go on this rampage of just doing malicious things, thinking that it will resolve the issue. It will not never resolve the issue. As you can see, there's plenty content, whether it's YouTube or any other platform, that shows that people who are reckless do not win. And so let's get into it. So one of the things I want to understand is that people who do reckless things, why is it that people who see this is like they're blind to it? Like they'll go right behind the same people and do the same thing. Like you get people who take pictures of their crimes. Like really? Does that? Doesn't make any sense? Guess what else? It gets deeper. So let me say this for those who understand what I'm saying and for those who don't understand, but by the time you finish listening, you have much clarity. Is that the adults, such as myself, and the adults that's older than us, our elders, are held accountable. That means every race on this planet. That doesn't matter because you got people who say, well, you're not my color, you're not my kind. We don't deal with you, but it's all a lie because everybody deal with everybody. It's just a lie. It's just illusion. There's no separation for real, because that case people be on one side of the earth and the other be on one other side of the earth. But here's the thing: the Most High was like wanting to know a question: why is it that adults and elders think because they're not getting involved because they use whatever explanation, rather it's their age, rather they say I don't have the resources. You know, I've heard people tell me when I've asked them in times when I was in the time of need, because I really don't ask people anything. And this what made me stop asking people is that if they did give it, they wanted to talk about you behind your back about it. And then the last but least, they would pretend that they didn't have it. And then oh, this is the last but least, my bad, is that they say they didn't have the resource, but they knew people that knew people. So that means you have the resource. Hopefully that didn't go over anyone's head. But here's the thing. The reality is that we're watching all these kids do all this reckless stuff. Now, there's a system that talks about, well, we have a place for them. And I get it. But don't you think it's being orchestrated if you're not giving them the opportunity to not do it? There's a lot of bashing and a lot of criticism that's going on in the communities where they say the unfit mother. You got some mothers that got some a decent job. I ain't gonna say the best of the best that gets past survival, and their children are participating in things they shouldn't be participating. See, last night I took a little stroll, and I don't hang out at night like that. A lot of people don't know that there's a lot of spirits out at night. They come to do their job. It's ancient information that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about no boogeyman story. I'm talking about facts, truth, and not that they walk in the day, because they do. But they know there's a lot of activity at night, so this is their best time to come out. Why do you think when Halloween is experienced, it is experienced at nighttime? They said, well, no, 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 I disagree. I agree to your disagreement because it really starts before night. Because you got 12 o'clock a.m. really is what I was saying, that it start at night and people start celebrating it around 6, 7, 8 o'clock p.m. So Halloween starts at midnight. And then when you get from midnight, you have the veil that's going to open at 3 o'clock a.m., which people don't know what the veil is, which is VEIL. That's when the spiritual realm is open. The heaven and the hell, the dimensions, the portals, the different realms. And now, when you have certain people who have money, for example, they orchestrate stuff that you don't get to see, but you get to experience by actually observing or physically experience. All these questions that people got, they want answered. You're trying to give them the answers. But the place that they look for the answers, they don't know the answer, nor are they ordained to give the answers. That's why you don't get the answers. The answer that you get is in the places that you think that's not there to give you the answers. The reality is that a lot of stuff that people are observing and experiencing is orchestrated. And by these things that's being orchestrated, allows people to assume that certain entities and etc. are at work, and this is the reason why an entity or a demon is doing what they're doing. The demon and entity is not bad, it's the people who conjure them up. Intentions. This stuff been going on for centuries. It's not nothing new. But let's get more into this thing so we can get this thing bread and butter over with. The most I want to understand, why is it that adults who know better is not involved in the communities making it better? They talk a lot of smack about circumstances, but they're not stepping up to actually participate. I don't give a damn if you get one child or two that help them be in a better place. Because see, these kids running out here, they don't have the nurturing. They've been neglected. They've been abused spiritually, emotionally, physically. That's not counting the spiritual attacks that's been done on their life. The energy ciphering, because that's what it is. The energy is being ciphered by the people who sit in the back. And people are trying to figure out what's going on. Well, what's going on is the same thing that happened to us when we were kids. Our energy ciphering, our talents and gifts, what I mean, our mindset, our abilities to thrive, and so forth, so on. But the Most High said, the hands of one, the hands of all. Rather people get on board and do what they need to do, he's counting. You ever hear that saying where it talks about where the Most High has guardian angels, and them speak this in the Christianity um, Bible, where it talks about the guardian angels are assigned to each individual on the planet, and their job is to actually not interfere unless the Most High tell them to. But more importantly, to help people will their life by giving them thoughts and emotions about the do's and don'ts, which way to go, which way not to go, who to deal with, who not to deal with, and also taking account of every action that a person says and do. So what I'm saying, what I mean by that is that every action that a person takes, it is like a box or a checkbox list. You know, we just simplify where we use good, bad, bad, good, and there's a check mark. And this is where you have the loops and cycles that come into. I didn't even know nothing about no loops and cycles. I just knew things were repeating itself, so I used the word repeat. Like, why in the world is this keep repeating over and over and over? And so you have people in the background, they orchestrate for you to go in loops and cycles. And so you have a lot of people upset with other certain people. They listen, I'm gonna tell you something. You don't get nothing else out of this shit. Everybody gotta go through suffering. Everybody gotta go through something. So because you see somebody not going through what you're going through, that should inspire you to let you know that you can overcome whatever it is that you're going through. Instead of you being upset, mad, or turning your back and saying, well, I don't want to see that because that makes me feel some type of way because I'm not in that situation. And because I'm not in that situation, I don't think it's very important for me at this time in my life or when it do come. Some people may not be dealing with it already. You're going to deal with it. You have to. It's called lessons. We're here to learn them. And instead of getting upset about it, this is where you could take notes and figure out what you need to do in your life instead of take notes trying to copycat somebody. Because let me tell you something. You got a lot of people out here copycatting people, and you can't be them and do them because you have to go exactly through what the hell they went through. Now, if God give you that opportunity to go through what went through, you're not gonna like it. You're like, oh hell no, I don't want to go through this to get that. So what I'm saying to say is that people want rewards without going through things, and people think that rewards come without going through something. It doesn't. You see, for example, the celebrities, the certain ones that make a certain sacrifice to get a certain status to get above other people. Sometimes that comes from a lot of uh, neglection in their bloodline. You know, codependencies. Um, you have trauma bonding issues and so forth. So on. That's what it comes from when you see a celebrity that's willing to go all the way out the way to dominate others in the industry that they are in. But as you can see, it doesn't work out. And you find people who are willing to do the same shit. You see, with DMX, he didn't take that route. He was offered. He explained in so many words what they was offering. He told them he was not interested. And we ain't gonna get into that because it's so irrelevant. I just tell people if you interested in knowing more about the root, all you got to do is read history, his story. That's what history means. His story, and he'll tell you his story. And they're not gonna lie to you. They're gonna tell you who they are, what they're about, and what their agenda is. And the crazy part is, I don't watch politics like that, but you know that stuff do come across the feed here and there. But there's nothing changed ever since I walked away from that shit. I don't care about voting. I don't care about who's going to be elected and all that because if they do have intentions to do the right thing, they have so much diversity against that they really don't have enough people and power to actually do it. And if those who do have enough people and power, those individuals who still want to dominate the way that they want to in a dark place in a negative way, they will execute them by all means, rather it's humiliation, ritual, smear campaigns, whatever they feel like they need to do. Uh, Bring men or a man or women or a woman in to lure that person in to actually get them to start messing with them, and then they'll document that with, you know, of course, facts to simplify it, and then it goes on from there. If y'all have not liked and subscribed and shared, if you like to share, it's cool. If not, cool. I appreciate the subscription. What that does, that helps the algorithm, and then that help us as a community to get to the place we need to get to. We not trying to compete with nobody. We most definitely ain't trying to get to the top, because the reason why we not trying to get to the top, because we already at the top. People got to understand that, because numbers doesn't determine the top. The relationship that you have with the Most High determines the top. And let me say this last but least: people are at the top considered with the illusion, but the physical reality, they are at the top. If that make any sense, like, well, yeah, it makes sense, but a lot of the scrambled stuff that you said. What I'm saying to say is, if you don't have the relationship with the Most High, you're not at the top. When I talk about, rather it's content creating, whatever it may be, if it's finances, okay, if I'm gonna use this example, do you think Elon Musk, do you think he have a relationship with the Most High? The answer is fucking no. This motherfucker talks about demons. He talks about bringing havoc on people. He talks about bringing harm on people. And guess what people do? They buy shit from this guy. They actually invest in this guy. They deal with his products and services. There's no AI creating this narrative and pretending that he said. No, he's very vocal. And I respect him for that, because he's not scared to say who he is. But the problem is, for people, it reminds me of the scripture. It says in Matthew, you can't serve two masters. You're gonna be confused. You're gonna love one and hate the other. So a lot of people pick not the Most High to be their master, not a master of control, but master in actually giving you the right answers of life, versus following the master who will always deceive and manipulate you in every form of way, and have you depleted and have you so discombobulated that when it come down, for example, your finances, you're like, well, damn, where my money go? Your money's gone because you're not monitoring. They have monitoring spirits. They are a monitoring spirit. And they monitor with statistics and jalistics and blah, blah, blah. And this is how they get your money. You hold it, they flip it. They hold it, they flip it. They won't give you no credit. They won't give you no loan, but they'll take your money and give it to somebody else as a loan. And you wonder why you in financial debt. You got to understand the game. We can't knock them, because they're not hiding it. They're not hiding this shit at all. People be acting like they surprised when they see these people demonstrate their behavior. I respect it. They may think I hate them, but I don't. I understand the game. Now, if you called me some years back, I was very emotional over a lot of things. But I understood at some point that that shit don't resolve nothing. What resolve is paying attention and then understanding what is being attacked. Everything in your life is being attacked, whether it's your emotions, how you feel about people, if you should listen to people, if you should or shouldn't be in a relationship, what type of relationship you think you should be in. If you are not having the mindset to be on a certain type of relationship, whatever that may be, business, a personal, a one with yourself, the one with your community, the one how you interact with many different people, places, and things, then how you expect it to feed you back what you feel like you should have. You can use, for example, immature man and woman wants a mature woman and man and expect it to be equally yoked. It's not. A person who broke, which truly is not broke, because it's money everywhere, and opportunity and creativity everywhere, chooses to find someone they can use to do what they choose that they truly don't want to do, or they're so used to people doing it for them for a favor for a favor. And that favor can be a lot of things. And we're not going to get into details of that, but I'm pretty sure you can read in between the lines. So even with that, those people still now they actually truly have a poverty mindset, because they don't have none of the money that they actually was able to retrieve from having that type of mindset and behavior. So you have people who get upset about these things. So shouts out to everybody. That's how I speak to everybody versus etc. Appreciate you coming. Um, there's a lot more questions the Most High have, but overall, it's gonna get ugly before it get better. And it's because people waiting on God to do everything. God is not gonna do everything. I had a mindset at one point, and I realized the circumstance I was in. I was in. Not only I was stagnant, I was in. It's a word I want to use, but it's not important because stagnant actually speak limbo is the word. I was in limbo, like a lot of people be in limbo, and you waiting, you're waiting, you're waiting and waiting. The Most High is not. He's giving you the thoughts and the emotions and the visions in every way possible to make the moves that's needed so you can do what you got to do. But in reality, um, people are not doing this. But yeah, let me get into this other thing. I wanted to talk about these exes, right? Some of y'all have exes that were controlling. They are demons. They've been stalking for years. And you also have some friends and family members and some fake associates the same way. And they trying to figure out what it's gonna take for you to get back in their life, which that's not going to happen. You got some of them doing witchcraft. You got some of them paying other people to do it. Witchcraft could come in many forms. It don't have to be somebody burning no candle all the time and going to the practitioner or Babalawa and all this other stuff and all these animal sacrifices and all this crazy stuff that people be doing. But the reality is this: whatever the Most High says, that's what it's gonna be. It's got to be no more. It's not gonna be no less. And when I said before, when these people who feel like they deserve something, first of all, you gotta understand your ex don't want you. I know I don't want none of anybody I dated. The hell I want them for? What I want somebody who in competition with me or jealous and a whole bunch of other shit who gossip and slandered and who do witchcraft and man, fuck no. I'm good. And most of them are married. Stay in your marriage. That's where you're supposed to be at. And they got kids. Stay in your marriage and stay with your kids. Quit thinking that something outside of your relationship is better. It ain't the it's not the outside the issue. It's you. It's you that got the problem. You don't want to change. You don't want to solve the problem. And if you're a bad picker, we all have been, then accept that. Anyway, that's enough of that. But yeah, ain't nobody going backwards. You know, some of the people I met, I had to meet them for lessons and shit like that. But I wish I would have met a lot of people. Not that I didn't enjoy the lesson. It's just the fact these motherfuckers don't want to go away. And then you have people that you met want you to be a follower. You will never no fucking follower. They supposed to have followed you. So then they can learn how to follow themselves. Motherfuckers still this what's this what gets me is that they had an opportunity to learn how to follow themselves, but they blame you. But then they couldn't comprehend because they already was projecting that they were so smart and intelligent, but they was dumb as a motherfucking bag of rocks. And you can't compare the bag of rocks because the rocks know its purpose, so it's not dumber than the person who's dumb. That's very insulting. It's very insulting for a person to think that they're not, or let me rephrase it, that are equipped. You're not. Wearing clothes and talking a certain way and hanging with certain people or groups of people or rubbing elbows doesn't make you intelligent. Who told you that? Now let me use an example. Diddy, many people don't like him no more, but he still got to live his life. And maybe he care, maybe don't. If I was him, hey, I made my mistake. I owe God what I owe him because I crossed the boundary with him. And in my relationship, whether I like one with God or not, that's my biggest concern versus people because people come and go. But because those same people who don't like Diddy got their own Diddy shit going on, and then got to be a sexual thing. And people ain't right because people don't want to actually fix themselves. They want to pretend that they are upright. You're not. Anyway, but and the point that I'm making is that Diddy was around the same type of people and didn't mean shit, because if it meant something, then why the fuck is he where he at? If he's truly in jail, nobody know he in jail or not. It might be another Epstein situation where goddamn people find out later that Epstein was never incarcerated like they thought he was, or dead. Shit crazy. Let me say this about this Jesus thing. The same people who tell you about Jesus tell you and told you about Jesus, the same people who oppress you. So why in the Bible Jesus was against oppression with the Sadducees and the Pharisees and many other different kings and many other different groups. So the same people telling you about Jesus, one that people be hollering about, is the same people who don't like other people, other skin. These are the same people who don't want to come together with people with different skin. These are the same people who tell a person with different, I'm just using skin for the moment. I can go to other shit. Same people who see people in circumstances don't help. Same people who criticize and say all type of malicious shit. You talking about your bloodline who hate other skins or indigenous or other races, and you are here to do what? Pretend or just get along to the get along? I really have to be truthful about this Jesus thing because people ain't seen Jesus do anything. But let's just say Jesus truly actually real. Let's just say, not only saying, but biblically what it says, that Jesus was about love, peace, and harmony, and self love and helping people. So people who claim they love Jesus, they don't love themselves, they don't help people, they don't stay in the upright, they don't pray, they don't have faith, they actually don't do a lot of things. They do the opposite. They lie, deceive, kill, and destroy, according to what the Bible said that the devil is. They go to and from to devour people's lives in every way, willingly and unwillingly. They are willing to take whatever money or whatever bribe to go hurt and harm not only themselves but also their bloodline and also other people. So people need to stop talking about this Jesus. I could tell you one thing that I know for certain. There's only a few white people that say they love Jesus, and they actually genuinely like other people of outside their race. While there's many who walk that path that hate other people the opposite of their race. So does that make them a hypocrite? Then you have people who are non-believers, but they have some type of love in their heart for others. They call them atheists. They consider atheists as a bad person. But all the atheist message and point is, I just don't believe in religion. I don't believe because I see through the lies. I see through the things that are not real or not truth. You can't prove none of this. How could you prove something when you was never here first to prove it? And then you have all this other history that proves other history as well. So it's pretty much explanatory how it expresses itself. And then you have other religions that don't like each other and they debate about which one is real and which isn't. Why would the creator create something that causes confusion? Only the devil causes confusion. And you'll have somebody who rebuttal that point, but it can be put to sleep as they will rebuttal it, because the reality is they're not even living up to their expectations. They're not coming together as leaders and bringing everybody together as one, unless it's control. Religion just control. That's all it is, and they don't mind telling you. So the blind lead the blind, what it would say or has said in one scripture. But people got their free will and do what they want. You need to stop comparing your life to other people, because the things that other people have done or willing to do, some people are not willing to do it, which is live right. Attempt to do it, not use excuses. Fix it and throw it away, meaning it don't get the opportunity to come back and say, yeah, I'm trying to stop doing this, or I'm trying to stop going that way. But everything else that you truly desire, you don't try, you do it. So why you can't put that same energy in doing the same thing for the things you say that you're trying not to do? You're trying not to say. Like, if I use profanity, I'm not trying to not use profanity. I'm going to use it. Sovereign. It's sovereignty. I believe in freedom. But freedom comes within self first. You're not free until you know that you're free internally. It doesn't matter what's going on outside of you. It has nothing to do with you. It's like going to the grocery store. You pick what you can need and what you need to use, and you keep it moving. Well, whatever is orchestrated in the grocery store, if there's an outbreak or a fight or a fire, it doesn't affect you unless you caught up in it, correct? So that's what sovereignty is. Navigating life abundantly, relying truly on the Most High for real, with blind faith, and not relying on mediators to tell you about God that they don't have no relationship with. And fortunately, that's a general statement, but most will say, oh, he must be speaking of all. It doesn't even matter. I just told you the Most High said the hands of one, the hands of all. So that means if I'm participating in a certain title, and that's corruption in that certain title, even if I'm not, and even though I'm not participating as far as doing the thing they're doing, I am a hands of one, the hands of all, because I'm acknowledging it. Instead of me stepping away and allow God to give me the vision that needed to separate me from that, I will hold that title and all the action that I would take among all of that. So that means you got corrupt preachers. That mean all will be corrupt based on the behaviors of all, because they're all supposed to be in alignment. They're supposed to be in sync. Same with officers. There's good officers, but because they hang around or they have knowledge or not seek to know knowledge about people who are corrupt, that makes them corrupt. And government officials and et cetera, et cetera. That's the example I'm talking about. It's the same tactic or the same momentum that's used. For example, and then I'm gonna get off of here, is when you have children, and I will use it that way. There's certain children who out here who breaks the law. They are the hands of one, hands of all. I watched a situation yesterday where a young man brother was asked to get out the car in Chicago. He gets out the car. They knew they was violating the law. They made the officers' jobs difficult, which I understood they had to do what they had to do. And at the end of the day, all that shit could have been avoided. He could have just went to jail for an open container, and or maybe they just poured it out and gave him a citation or just gave him a warning. It went from that to murder. He ended up murdering one of the officers, and then he ended up injuring another officer. All of that shit was unnecessary. So I'm not against the justice system. I'm not against the law, because some things need to be put in place because the shit is out of hand. But nevertheless, the finishing and the end of this story, or the point that I'm making, or the point it's making itself, is that in that situation, the brother ended up losing his life, and the brother that was the driver ended up taking on the consequences of life in prison, along with 95 plus years. We know he's not going to live no 95 plus years. I don't understand that. But life speaks for itself. You have life. You do have some of those individuals go overboard. But anyway, the message is the message. You can learn something from everything that's been spoken. And I hope that all have a blessed day. And I most importantly hope that many get this relationship that they think is too late or doesn't exist with the Most High God. But you have to do the right thing. And yeah, it's going to hurt because you're going to have to cut a lot of people off. Because if not, they're going to persuade you, or you're going to persuade yourself, or the unseen can persuade you to do not the right thing. This is Olabade Olugbsean. Till next time, peace.